According to this computer. There we go. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the recording of our webinar because apparently Facebook hates us and we can't do the live stream like we wanted to. We'll figure this out, technology, etc. Thank you for joining us for marketing your business as we enter phase one of the reopening of our economy. And you know, it's good. We just want to share some information. My co-hosts are Randy Brown, the publisher of the Bossier Press Tribune, and Chris Sepeda, the advertising manager for the Bossier Press Tribune and BIZ Magazine. And for those of you who don't know me, I am David Specht, the publisher of BIZ Magazine. And so we're just going to go through a quick lunch and learn, hopefully just about a half an hour, to talk about phase one. We all got excited when we started hearing from the governor that on Friday he's going to open the economy, or at least relax some of the restrictions. And one of the first things that popped in mind to all of us was, what does that look like for our local businesses? How can what can our local businesses do between now and Friday to be ready to open back up, to begin to get things to what normal may or may not look like? And so that's kind of why we decided to do this webinar. First off, I'm going to ask the question, and guys, you can weigh in if you like, but I really want to hone in on, what does phase one look like for everybody? You know, for restaurants, it means that you can have some table service inside, but not at like what, to 25% capacity. Small businesses is 10 people or less in the business. Medium to large businesses, it's at a percentage of total occupancy. Mask wearing is a guideline, and I would say based upon the Bossier City area that I've seen, not many people are following that guideline. And also, you know, there's just all of these things. There's the fire marshal website where you can register, and they'll send you the information pertinent to your individual business. And I think it's opensafely.la.gov. And then there's the one that's locally done, that's opensafesbc.com. These will help you with regard to how to go through the phase one and begin to open your business. But what we want to talk about is the marketing side of it. You see, marketing is not just advertising, although a lot of people kind of equate the two. Marketing is information. Marketing is building awareness. I've heard people say that marketing is like a spotlight, and it shines on your business or on your service or on your product. And there are certain things that marketing can do, and there are certain things that marketing can't do. You know, marketing can't make up for a dirty store. Marketing can't make up for rude employees. Marketing can, however, bring awareness to your place of business and bring information about your place of business that otherwise people would not know. I mean, how many times have you if you owned a business, or you've been in a business, or maybe just in life, you're like, you know, I didn't even know this place existed, or I didn't know you were here, or I didn't know you were only open 3 days a week and I came by on Tuesday and you were closed. I mean, and marketing helps give out that information so that people know how to engage with you. They know what your benefits are. They know what you have to offer. They know what your hours are. They know all of these things. And so as a business owner, as a marketing person, maybe you're the chief of marketing for your corporation, maybe you work at the chamber, whatever, as the person in charge of getting information out one way or another, the question you have to ask yourself, are you ready for phase one? Are you ready to be open? Because if you're not, it might be worth your while to take a few days and get yourself ready. I believe, based upon personal experience and what I have seen in this market, this weekend is going to be worse than Black Friday. And I say that because last weekend it was stupid busy out and about. I went to Flying Heart Brewing, not for beer. All you people don't throw the rocks. I was getting pizza. And one of the things they did, when they found out that they could open up their patio area, they expanded their patio area. And people were going up and getting their food and bringing it back to sit down and eat. But here's the thing, it was slammed. Every bit that they expanded, their parking lot was full. Why? Because people are anxious. They want to get out. They want to do and go and do. They're tired of being cooped up. But can I tell you one other thing that you may not have thought of? Cooped up people generally have short fuses. And if your employees are not ready to, one, handle an onslaught of people, and number two, dealing with people who may not be as cordial as they would normally be, those are some things that you need to prepare for before you open up. Those are some things, because you see how your employees treat people. That's essentially marketing as well. How much information, like, do you have rules in place for how many people can be in your establishment? Do you have, is it posted? Do you have signs specifically posting maybe your new hours of operation, or if you have to do the one way down the aisles thing, do you have that posted? Have you done the legwork beforehand to make sure that your customer, your client, has the very best possible experience under the circumstances? If we know ahead of time, a lot of times we deal with things a whole lot better, right? If you know that it's going to be an hour and a half wait for your prescriptions, from the time you order them, you're not going to show up in 15 minutes, expect them to be ready and all ticked off. Okay. So doing these things on the front end is very, very, very important. I read a story, and I think Randy and I were talking about it yesterday, a story about an ice cream shop in the Boston, Massachusetts area that opened last Saturday and literally closed within 2 hours of opening and lost one of their best employees because the people coming in, not only were they rushed in, even though they posted out there to please place your order and we'll let you know, everybody found out they were open. There was this swell of people and they weren't exactly nice. When they begin to have to wait, when the staff was overwhelmed, when everything was going on, it created a situation that was not good either for the customer or the company. And, that's not what we want to have happen this weekend. So if you're not ready, if you haven't really sat down and thought and put procedures in place, both from from the way of operation to the marketing of the way of that operation to the informing, et cetera. Have you posted on Facebook? Have you let people know exactly how this is going to work? Then you may want to delay till Monday, or you may want to delay till Tuesday or something until you're ready. So I encourage you for that. If you haven't thought about signage and you need signage, that you need to really work on that, because people really do need to know before they get to your establishment what to expect. And that's all part of marketing. Some people just think in terms of the ad in the paper or the ad online or the ad on the TV station or in the radio or wherever. But marketing is every message that you give to a client or a potential customer. It's everything that you're telling them over and over and over again to what to expect, why you're better, or what you have to offer. And doing those things are very vitally important. So understand that as you're going into this weekend, to be ready. Now, here's another thing that you need to let people know what's going on. You need to let them know. And it doesn't matter what size business you are. You could be a mom and pop operation, or you could be Coca-Cola. You need to let people know what's going on. You need to market yourself. You need to get your brand out in front of people on a consistent basis. And so one of the things I want to do now is going to turn it over to some of to my guests. I call them guests, even though we see each other every day. To my guests, and I'm going to start off with Randy Brown. And Randy, as a publisher of the Bossier Press Tribune, you've dealt with a lot of marketing, a lot of businesses. And I think, your sweet spot is dealing with the larger corporate businesses that have different needs in marketing. And I thought maybe you could just kind of take the floor for a few minutes and tell people, if I have a business that doesn't necessarily need to advertise what I have to offer, because it's not that kind of situation, whether you're a bank or somebody in healthcare or somewhere like that, what are some of the things that they should be thinking of doing right now as we enter phase one? So Randy, take it away.
Dave, thank you so much. Pleasure to be here today. I'm going to talk for a few minutes about sponsorship marketing. There's lots of ways to market your business. Sponsorship marketing is often seen as the simplest way to market, but there's a cost sometimes associated. Sometimes there's lots of free sponsorship type marketing that you can do, and we've all seen that in the last few weeks. Lots of companies that we work with here, from hospitals to banks, everybody's wanting to get the word out about being a good community supporter that we are. And that's one thing I've written a lot in my columns that I write for the newspaper about how this community bands together. And that's a lot of what sponsorship marketing is. It's a sense of community, a sense that, hey, our company is here. We're part of this community. We want to be here. We want to get the word out that we're here. David kind of set up a lot of what I planned to talk about for me, and I appreciate that, Dave. Thank you so much. But one thing I want to talk about, and this is just kind of basic marketing 101 here, is do you have a plan? Do you have a plan, a little marketing plan, but even a sponsorship marketing plan? Dave just talked about it. One thing we talk about a lot, and working with our advertisers here, is what are the needs of your business? What are the needs of your business at this time with what we've been through these last couple of months with the stay-at-home order, the shutdown, businesses closed? What are the needs of your business right now? And I would highly suggest sitting down and just putting that down on paper. What does the future look like for your brand or your image? And you should know that and have that as well in your mind and kind of know what you're aiming for. Dave mentioned it a while ago too, brand awareness. Very, very important, whether you're a brand new company or in the more mature phase of the business cycle. It's very important, especially during this time. Let people know, hey, we are back, we are here, we are open. One thing too that I want to talk about is be like a sponge, just absorb everything, learn everything you can. The webinar today, we thank you for being here. Hope you learned a lot from it. There's all kind of webinars to be a part of. Bossier Chambers had some great webinars. They do the virtual networking on Wednesdays at 2 p.m., the chamber chat on Mondays at 3 p.m. And then every Friday, there's a joint collaboration between the Shreveport Chamber, the Bossier Chamber, and the African American Chamber of Commerce at 11 o'clock, which kind of updates everyone on what's going on with the current situation with the coronavirus and just how the area is looking overall. I would suggest doing all of those. There's lots of webinars you can participate in. There's a lot of even industry-specific stuff that's specific to your business or your industry that you can do that would be very helpful of people in your business that are talking about things and how they're doing things. Watch others and be a part of the community. Get the word out. I've already said that. Sponsorship marketing sometimes has a cost associated with it, and sometimes people can look at that as a negative. Well, I'm not really getting a whole lot out of doing this. Well, yes, maybe at that time, but it also pays off. Being a publisher and coming from the advertising side of the business, certainly concerned about revenue, but word of mouth is also one of the best forms of advertising that you have, and getting that positive PR out there, like Dave said a while ago. Positive PR. Your sponsorship marketing can help you with positive PR. Brand awareness. Sponsorship marketing can help you with your sales promotion. Also, Dave mentioned this as well too, social service or community service. Your sponsorship marketing, of course, is heavily attached to that. Give for Good last week comes to mind, and the record-setting community coming together to set records as far as the money's raised there. And lots of nonprofits are benefiting from that, as well as the companies that gave to the effort also are getting great positive PR and promotion out of that as well. So there's just lots of things we can do. David already alluded to it too. On the creative side, creating banners, logos, handouts to get the word out about, hey, we're here and here's what we're doing. We're back open. Coupons are another great thing that is used during this time and times like these to get people into your business, to bring them back in the door. And that's what we're all concerned about and want to help with doing here. I'd also suggest, and signage, David said that too. I'd also suggest don't be unprepared. Be prepared for what you're going into. And like I said, be like a sponge, absorb everything you can. One thing we've all heard so much lately is, what does the new normal look like? Well, in a lot of cases, we don't really know yet, but we're all learning and doing the best we can. A lot of trial and error, a lot of things that we're trying to do. And we also, what does phase one mean for your business? And that's going to differ per business. What phase one means for someone's business is not going to be the same as it means for yours. So just staying focused and doing the things you can to help get the word out and to bring people in your door and to get that good PR and positive PR out there for your business.
Thanks, Randy. Yeah, and I would just add to what Randy said, and he hit all the points that need to be said, and that is always think in the long term. Even though we have to act in the short term, always think in the long term. You know, phase one's not forever, and the spike of this weekend won't be forever. So you really do need to think in the long term for what do you want your business to look like this time next year. So keep that in mind as well. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Sepeda, and I really want to, Chris, he's the go-getter for as far as dealing with a lot of our small to medium-sized businesses in our company. He has built a lot of relationships, and over COVID-19, Chris had started a video series for businesses that were open, and it got me to thinking about what can a small to medium-sized business, if you've gone for 2 months without any essential revenue, jumping back into business and marketing is something that it's probably, you're a little apprehensive. You're not really sure, well, how do I spend money or what do I do? And so I asked Chris to come on to talk about what are some things that you can do either on the cheap, free, things that include elbow grease, or things that you may not have thought of that you thought you couldn't afford, but all of a sudden there's ways for you to afford it. So Chris, why don't you take it away and talk about small to medium-sized business marketing?
All right, thank you, Dave. Number one thing that I found when all this started with the shutdowns and everything with businesses that were open was this little gadget right here, your cell phone, a little $12, $13 tripod you can order from Amazon or Best Buy. You set it up, you put it on, you hit record. Don't do a live video because you can't really edit much when you're doing it, but just put a live video or a video from your phone, record yourself or your employees, just simply saying, hey, we're open, we only do curbside, or, if you're like a boutique or a clothing business, you can say, hey, order online and, you can bring it here at the store. That is the cheapest and easiest way to do to the people who already support you. And then you ask those people to share, and with social media, you tell one person, you tell a bunch. With things kind of getting going and people are going to generate a little bit of money, maybe you want to hit those bigger target audience than just your normal people that are already following you. Then you need to get into some of your print or your radio or your TV, or even like your Pandora style apps with the music and stuff. You can throw that on there. Use a lot of website, because people are still, though they're getting a newspaper or they're hearing the radio, they're still going to websites for their news. And I tell people all the time, with both BIZ and the Bossier Press website, if you're going to do an ad, your best is to try to be the one in the end story. So that way people are reading the story, they're going around your ad on every story, and it makes it easier. But you want to look at the avenues that what you can afford now. So you don't want to throw a bunch of money, because if you've been making $0 the last few months, you've got $0 to throw towards advertising. And again, this guy right here, your phone and a tripod, your best bet. Go through your store and just kind of hey, this is how we're separating things. We used to be, we're a restaurant. We used to, everybody, having to cram through, you could barely fit through. Well, now because of 25% capacity, 6 foot distance, have some of your employees walk around with their gloves and their mask on to show, hey, this is how we would serve your table. This is how we would bring our food to you. If you're a boutique, we've got everything spread out more so our clothes aren't clumped together. You're not having to do all our shoes from this way. There's just different examples you can show people just by using your phone. And you don't have to Instagram it up so you look all fancy. You can use the TikTok app. Obviously, I don't use it because I can't say the name of it correctly. There's so many different ways to really just get the word out about what you're doing. You just have to be creative. And, I'm not the most creative person when it comes to certain things as far as TikTok, but Instagram, Facebook, or just a regular video, I can do it. And I'm not the most internet savvy person. I'm 37 and can't use a computer most days. And so if I can figure it out, anybody can. It's like the old Geico, if a caveman can do it, so can you. I am that caveman. but there's just ways. Look for opportunities. Ask people, hey, I can't afford a full page for $1,000, $1,600, whatever. What do you have that it's still big enough for me to get my name out? Are there other spots in your radio or TV ad, that maybe be 15 seconds that I can just spit out real quick everything we're doing? Get creative. And that's the number one thing that anybody can do, whether you're small, medium, or large businesses. Find a way to hit all audiences once you get some dollars coming in.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I was thinking while you were talking about about how right now is a great time to negotiate, because there are a lot of people, traditional and non-traditional media, that are looking to get things rolling. They knew that, the last 2 months, that's just not going to happen for them. So what can we do? And that kind of segues into what I want to do. I'm going to switch us over to gallery view and kind of have a little roundtable discussion with you guys about, I love how Randy's name's right next to his picture, by the way, about what are some of the things you've seen over the last 2 months that may, be applicable as we move forward. I think, what Chris, what you were saying with the cell phone video and all is right on point. I've heard like national companies are pooling their traditional advertising in the third quarter, because they're used to being wined and dined by these big advertising agencies, and guess what? You can't wine and dine via Zoom. So it's kind of hard for them to put the deal together. But I do know this too. Over the last 2 months, people have gotten very fickle on who they trust. And so they're not allowing just anyone to tell them what the official information is regarding COVID-19, the official information about what's going on in government, around in the news. And so what I have seen is this shift of attention. And let's be honest, marketing is putting your message where the attention is. I've seen this shift back to what you would consider the old war horses, your newspapers, your trade magazines, your non 24/7 news channels, like your evening news. What have y'all seen as far as attention going forward? Where would, if I was a business owner, where would be a great place for me to put my dollars or my effort in? And again, not necessarily tooting our own horn, but we are part of that traditional media, and I can give numbers to back that up. But kind of give me some ideas of what y'all have been seeing in the marketplace regarding that.
Well, I mean, I'm out and about a bit more than you guys are, just, out doing the videos and stuff. And one thing I've seen going along with your signs you were mentioning earlier, people have been relying more on the old school banners that you just have somebody, make for you. Where, it used to be you get a billboard, and billboards are great, but we can't have the guy outside spinning a sign, but you'd have a big banner on the post. So when the wind's blowing, it dangles a bit more, and kind of saying, hey, curbside here. And before this happened, you didn't see that many restaurants or your basic businesses having banners outside. So
yeah, and when a lot of this first hit, we saw a lot of them even with people standing out beside the road with hold up poster boards or whatever, with actual live bodies out there, wanting people to know that they were doing curbside or that they were open.
Yeah, and I would add to what y'all said, like if curbside is what got you through these last 2 months, people have developed now a habit of expecting it. So don't flip flop and go away from it 100% simply because the governor says you can have people come inside. I think curbside is going to be here to stay in one form or another. What do you think?
I just read that what you just, I didn't mean to interrupt, Chris. I just read that exactly what you said the other day, Dave, that one restaurant here locally had recognized that it's such a large part of their business and they're doing so well with it, they're not going to let it go away, that they can't afford to let it go away.
Right. Another thing, about attention, and again, you know what? It's a free webinar. I might as well toot my own horn for a moment. We, in the last 2 months, the BIZ magazine website has quadrupled in unique visitor traffic. Quadrupled. Why is that? Because people are, getting back to what I said originally, people are looking for trustworthy information. And so if the attention is going to a place where there's trustworthy information, then marketing in that vein, marketing to that site, if you will, is valuable in that there's a trust factor there. I also looked at the Bossier Press Tribune numbers, and what's been really interesting to me, there was a very small falling off. And you're like, oh no, there's this falling. No, listen to me. The small falling off, when you consider there's absolutely no school news because schools are not in session due to COVID-19, and there's no sports, you would expect like this huge erosion because that's a lot of the bread and butter of what that particular newspaper is. But the fact that there was just a slight fall off tells you how important the newspaper is to that market. And I suspect, and I'm not privy to the numbers, but I suspect your local television stations, your news radio station are all seeing that strong viewership, listenership, et cetera, because of the need for something being trustworthy. The fly-by-nights, the website only companies, the whatever, the ones that are considered, new media, I think have eroded even, more than we have eroded in their impact. That when all things go crazy, people tend to fall back to what it seems safe and is natural and is traditional. It's like after 9/11 when all the churches were full, right? Remember that 9/11, 2001, the very next church service, every church was full. I think that's what it is. When there's crisis going on, people go back to where they trust, and trustworthiness is a very important thing in your marketing message that you want to get in front of people who will trust the message that you have to offer.
Well, going back to one of the things you said a while ago, first was about the negotiation. We like to kind of jokingly say amongst us that here, even before COVID-19, is, some dollars are better than no dollars. So if you're trying to get your ad out or your whatever out, and somebody goes, okay, that's $500. Well, the last 2 months, most of these places haven't been making $500 for their ad. And if you can't afford $500, but maybe you can $300, talk to them and say, hey, look, you're making no money. I don't have the money. Where can we meet? This is a time to be brave and step up and step up for yourself and your business versus going, well, he said 500, I can't afford it, and walking away. Because a lot of people don't go with that mentality of, some dollars is better than no dollars. But also too, if you've been offering curbside for your restaurant or whatever, and Dave, you mentioned Flying High earlier, so it made me think of this. They're still offering their take and bake, which wasn't a thing before COVID. Right. They're still, which they were doing the growlers before, thankfully. They're still doing those. So, from a post they put up earlier today, they found the take and bake must have worked well for them. So let's keep doing that. So that way I can only allow 25% of my business plus the patio. Well, I've got this take and bake idea. It's been working. So now I can get more people to do that, and I can fill my restaurant up to the maximum, amount of people I can have right now. So you're still making money.
Right.
And that's thinking differently. And this is a time where you have to be outside the box.
Those are great points, Chris. One thing that we've always said too, and Chris just alluded to this, you can't afford to not promote your business. And that's always true in any time, but especially during this time, you have to promote yourself. So like Chris said, be tough and negotiate and ask questions and ask for deals. There's nothing wrong with that. And you will find people will work with you and are willing to work with you. I know we've certainly done a lot of that here, and you'll find people will work with you. Dave said a while ago too, people are going to be anxious to get back to church, get back to their favorite restaurants. There's going to be an onslaught and a big demand. So make sure that your business is ready, because there's going to be people that are going to be anxious to get back and come see you. So be prepared for that.
And one last thing, and I think, I think Chris, his running theme was get creative. And I just want to tell people, get creative in your marketing, meaning don't think that it has to be, an ad or a traditional way of doing advertising. Be a sponsor of content that's of value to people. Create your own content that is of value to people. You know, it could be a news type story that you write or that you are interviewed in that is of value to people, but it highlights your business. You know, I think about, you know, if you make PPE, you know, personal protective equipment, you have a story to tell, and that story, you know, is important to the masses. You know, you want to get that story out. So, you know, contacting the newspaper or contacting the radio station or contacting TV about sponsored content, you know, that there's nothing wrong with that anymore. The world has changed, you know, that we're not, you know, the newsroom and the advertising department are not on separate ends of the buildings anymore. They're all working together to get the information out there and to, quite frankly, to continue to have their ends meet. Because, you know, as we all walk this walk through COVID-19 and beyond, we all want to stay in business. We're no good to anybody if we're out of business, and you're no good to anybody if you're out of business. And so we need to all work together to market and to continue. Yes, there's going to be a spike this weekend, and there may be a spike for the next 2 weeks or more, but at some point it's all going to settle down. And is your business going to be ready to do that? Guys, any final thoughts before we close this out and upload the recording, since Facebook didn't want to work with us today?
I just want to say, and I think I mentioned it already once, but you know, we've all heard socially as individuals, what does the new normal look like? Well, think of that in terms of your business. And Dave said earlier, think long term. What does the future look like, as much as you can tell right now, for your brand or your image? And just kind of base your marketing and your, as what I talked about during this, your sponsorship marketing around that idea.
Chris, any final thoughts?
I just want to, you know, give my information out real quick in case anybody has any questions. Not necessarily about doing advertising, but if you want to do that, I'll give it out as well. But my email is christopher@bozierpress.com. I've got no problem coming and sitting down with anybody to kind of go over ideas, even if you're not spending any money with me. I'd prefer you give me some money, just to be honest. But if you're just like, hey, I don't have any monies to give, can you come help me get the word out? Contact me. Again, Christopher@bozierpress.com. I've got no problem coming and sitting and helping somebody. You know, I'll do a video, and we can still do those videos on the Bozier Press Facebook page. I've got no problem doing that also. It'll just, you know, help us get the word out for you. To steal a line from a buddy of mine's business over in Shreveport, you know, come get creative with us in a different way than normal. And let's get through this together.
Well, folks, I'd like to thank y'all for taking time out of your busy schedules to visit with us today. Hopefully the information that we've provided will be useful to you. If I had anything I wanted to add to this, and this goes beyond marketing, this is business in general, and that is this. As we continue to negotiate what the future looks like, please don't only work in your business, work on your business. Take that step back, make some goals, and decide. That will help clarify to you what direction of marketing you want to go to. And surely reach out to us if you have any questions. We'd love to help in any way we can. We are all partners in each other's success, and we're here for you. And it's our prayer that as we emerge from this, we will all emerge stronger and more profitable. Thank you again, and God bless.